Hey, everybody, welcome to another Heroclix podcast. I'm your co host, Alec, and I'm here always joined with Manny Ortega.
Hello, hello.
And then I'm also joined with newcomer Keo, who we had on the podcast last time, but we just loved him so much that we were just like, you know what? We want to have him back.
What's going on?
And then we have a very, very special guest, someone who's very, very predominant in the Heroclix community. We have Mr. Antonio Clark.
What is going on, everybody? What up, peeps? It's your super sketch artist, Antonio. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, man. Every day above ground's a good day. I can't complain. You know?
Absolutely. Before we jump into today's episode, Antonio, you are somewhat of an artist, some would say. I think you would also say that as well.
I would hope so. It's what I do for a living.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to give the audience and just the listeners just where you can find yourself, and where like anybody can find your art or look for commissions and stuff like that for you, because you do some awesome art.
I appreciate that, Alec. You can definitely find me at antonio.clark.art on most of the social media platforms. Of course, you can find me on Facebook at Art of Antonio Clark. And, even if you just want to listen to me talk about more clicks, I also have a YouTube channel called What Say You, where I do some breakdowns and stuff like that, like this good guy, Alec, as well, where I talk about also the artistic value of Heroclix. So, yeah, but you can find me at any of those places. I love drawing any and everything. I worked with everybody from Oprah to Google and everybody in between. So I love to draw any and everything, but comics is my jam. So which is why I play this game. So yeah.
Yeah, that is super cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know you did with Oprah.
That's pretty solid. That's awesome.
Thanks, man. I worked with her and Weight Watchers when they were right before the pandemic, 2 years in a row. They were rebranding, and I went around the U.S. and in Canada. Shout out to all my Canadian peeps up there, and we were doing these events for free, and I was drawing people's faces, and it really was a life-changing and career-changing thing for me, not just like working with the companies and stuff like that, and Oprah is Oprah, but it was really just changed my aspect on what I do as an artist. And I really try to change this world one drawing at a time and try to spread as much joy as I can through my pen. So yeah,
it's an awesome way to look at it. I love your perspective on art. It's very unique.
I appreciate it. I mean, art is life, man. We've talked about it before. When me and Alec first did anything together, we got together and we did a drawing session together, which was very fun. And we drew Heroclix sculpts that we liked, which was fun.
Oh yeah, we got to do that again. I feel so bad about. I said we should do this again, and we never did. But we do need to actually do that again.
It's all right, man. But that was a fun thing, and I again, art is in everything and everybody. I believe we were created. I believe God created us all, and we are all walking pieces of art. So art is in everything, and the pandemic really showed us that a world without art is horrible. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that we get to enjoy this game. And part of the reason why I enjoy Heroclix so much is the artistic value of the sculpts, which I'm excited to talk about a little bit later,
Oh yeah, we got a lot to talk about with that.
Oh yeah, man.
But before we get into it, number one, there is a ton of news that dropped today. Ton of news. So much. So we'll talk about that before we get into the art of Heroclix. But also before that, we were going to talk about the games we are playing. These are games outside of Heroclix that are maybe board, video game, or playground, or whatever phone app games that you're playing. We want to know what kind of games. We want to let you know what games we're also playing outside of Heroclix. Let's start with Keo this time. Keo, do you have any games you've been playing outside of Heroclix?
I do. I recently just played a game, tabletop of Betrayal.
Oh,
I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with that game. Ton of fun. I got to run through like about 3 or 4 sessions. We played for hours, and the bigger the group, the more fun it is. But if you get a chance to play that, and then you're into like a thriller and kind of more of the ghost hunt feel, it's definitely something you need to check out. Unique game. I'm new to the tabletop space, so I'd never played anything like that of the sorts. I come from a world where like Yahtzee and Life is what we played, and so now to play like more complex stuff is such an eye opener. So fun, so fun. Highly, highly, highly recommend if you have not played. Apparently, I'm behind on the times. It's a very popular game, I guess.
It's super fun. Have you played it? Has anyone else played that game?
I have not played it, but I know of the premise of it.
Were you the revealed killer?
I was
or
I was not the haunt in the game. In the game they call it the haunt, right? You do so many. They're called omens, and not to kind of go in because it's not as complex as Heroclix, but it for a one shot game, it's pretty complex. But essentially, I did not get to be the bad guy or the villain of the story. Although I guess in a way there was a scenario that played out where it turned into every man for themselves, essentially. And so then it turned into you wanted to be the guy with the muscles, Flash, and you didn't want to be the old guy, which I wasn't, thankfully. But
I don't know which haunt you're talking about, but I played a very similar one. I love that game. That game rocks.
So it's not a recent game that I've been playing a lot, but it's a game that tends to come up a lot when I have game nights, and it's called Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to a Ghost Town. So I was waiting for you guys to talk about the name.
No, it sounds wild, but I wanted to hear it for sure.
So what the game is, the premise of the game is everyone gets a little grid, like a map, and there's like a dungeon master, but he's not like a dungeon master, but they call him the mayor, and he has a map of the city, like of the houses and the fences and stuff like that inside the house. And everyone is a pizza deliverer trying to deliver their pizza to the house, but they have to try and navigate the city because they don't get to see it. And the mayor the only way they get to do it is like on their turn they get to move around the map, and the mayor will tell them like what's near them or what's by them, and they have to like fight against ghosts and stuff like that to try to deliver a pizza.
Wow, that sounds really fun, actually.
It's a blast
dude,
because
that's so cool.
There's like portals and stuff too that can like put like you can feel like you have the map like good, and then you accidentally step on a portal, and then you're like, oh crap, now I don't know where I'm at. You have to restart everything.
Wow, that sounds like a really fun team building game.
It's definitely an enjoyable one to be the mayor of.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of game is like the better the environment, the better the mood is, where everybody's kind of just having a ton of fun with it. That would be the type of game you want to play, because that creates like that environment where people are laughing. There's nonsense happening. I mean, the whole premise sounds like a ton of fun.
It's definitely a fun one to play.
That sounds like a ton of fun. So yeah, for me, oh man, I had like a board game weekend. So recently, Megan and I went to Omaha, but we become really good friends with I become really super good friends with Dial H. And Ian was like, "Hey, if you want to come up here, I could hook you up." And I was like, so I went up there with Megan, and we ended up going. I think we played so many freaking board games. It was super fun. We were up to we literally started one night at like 10 or 9 o'clock at night, and then we ended at 2 a.m. and then we picked it back up the next morning and continued playing different games with Calder. And then we kept on, and then we played some games early on in the week as well. But man, I just had such a really good time. If you want to hear more about it, Dial H to kind of recapped it really good in the first 25 minutes of their most recent podcast. So I won't go into it there, but just know that that was a lot of fun doing the live stream. But the game that I played that was the most fun was Marvel Champions. And it's kind of like Marvel Legendary, it's a team building game where you're facing the game. There's a bad guy that you got to beat up, but the difference ends where Marvel Legendary is a deck building game where you consistently build your deck up. Marvel Champions is bring your own deck. So you have your own deck.
deck. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you played it, Manny?
I own it. Yep.
Dude, it's so fun. We gotta play it. It's so fun.
I haven't played it yet. Emilio was supposed to teach me how to play it, and then he moved. So
what a loser. I know,
yeah.
Emilio.
But I do own it, and I do own the Gambit deck.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, so there's different hero decks, right? So I personally ordered. So the one that I played with was a Agent Venom deck, which is like very aggro, very high offense, and it was very fun. Megan played a Captain America deck. Calder played a Nightcrawler deck, which was like very defensive, and it was all about stacking his defense so that when somebody would attack him, they would just deal damage themselves. It'd be like like mystic damage in
Mhm.
HeroClix terms. But man, Calder, thank you so much for showing that game to us. That game was so fun. Megan kind of got on board with it, but eventually like she got onto it as the game progressed, but it took a little bit longer for her to get going
Right.
with that.
The game that I'm playing right now is Unmatched. I'm playing some Unmatched, waiting for Ninja Turtles exclusives to come in because I can't wait to play those. I'm playing some Marvel United, the Spider Verse one. I got that for Christmas. Playing some Infinity. Also playing some good old fashioned D&D. So, which is very fun. We have 3D printed out the hilts of our weapons so that when we act like we're attacking and stuff like that, we can kind of act it. Our DM likes to see us act things out. So he's like, I want to see, instead of being like, I swipe my sword, like he wants to see you act it out, and he gives you extra points for like doing it. He'll give you like a certain thing, and it's very, very cool. My guy is it's like a kind of like Psylocke almost. Like I chose an assassin type.
Mm.
And I have my psychic knives, and he printed out like a thing that's supposed to represent my psychic knife, which is so cool. So I started playing D&D during the pandemic and fell off from it, and then picked it back up not too long ago, and it's just been so much fun when I need a break from HeroClix, or like not everybody wants to play HeroClix because it's very linear. So of course a game like D&D or even Infinity, different things, and so it's been very fun. And it gets to stretch that imagination. So those are the games I've been playing right about now.
Yeah.
And video games, I'm a shooter guy and a fighting game guy. So the Capcom thing that's about to come out with Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I can't wait for that. And the Power Stone,
yeah.
Like I'm a Capcom fan and a fighting game fanboy. And when it comes to shooters, I've been playing Apex Legends for I don't know how many years now. That's the shooter that I just pick up now. I tried Marvel Legends, and it just didn't stick with me. I was like, okay. I see people's appeal, and I love the art, and I have something very cool. If you're listening to this, I have something you'll see something before the end of the month dealing with Marvel Rivals, a piece of art that I'm making dealing with Marvel Rivals that will be very, very cool. So just keep an eye out. Keep an eye out. Keep an eye out.
That's so cool. I know Manny plays Unmatched a lot.
I do. Yes.
Yeah, man, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun.
I have almost all of the versions except for the Buffy the Vampire Slayer one.
Nice.
Yeah.
This past weekend, I just played with Geralt in the bathtub, which was fun.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't played with that one, but
Yeah, it's a very strong little set. Yeah, it's a very strong set. It's very fun.
I have I have Sasquatch
Oh,
versus
nice.
Robin Hood.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It is kind of fun though. I do like it. I've only played it a handful of times, but
I believe
Manny
that is the
loves that
first one I bought too.
Really?
Yeah, that's a lot of people's first one is the Sasquatch versus Robin. Like that's one of the ones they kind of push. One that I wish I had that I don't have is the Bruce Lee. My homeboy has it, and I
Oh
wish.
yeah, I don't have that one either.
Yeah, the Bruce Lee one is like that was an exclusive one, and like you can't even, if you go online and try to get it, it's just an absurd amount of money. So
Same with the Deadpool.
yeah, I mean that makes complete sense. I had I played the Spidey one, like Spidey Strange She-Hulk one, and I was like, yeah, well, anything Spider-Man's my guy. So so yeah, Spidey's my guy.
And you mentioned United. You have the one with Morlun and Anti-Venom, right?
Yeah, like
that was the first one I bought too. That game is so fun. When I first found out about that game, like we played it nonstop probably for like 2 or 3 weeks.
yeah, it's objective based games, especially when you get to play them. even say like with the DC card game that they have, that's such a fun game when you play it, and we use Heroclix figures instead of just like, oh, this is
That's
Dark
awesome.
Side over here. Like we use Heroclix like on the bases to move things around and stuff like that. It's just, it's those type of things are very, very, very fun. So it's great. I love where gaming. I love that gaming is so much the in the forefront now, and now being a gamer isn't such a horrible thing or a bad word. Yeah, some people still look down on it, but the general consensus now is gaming again is a great way to express yourself and gather with people and have some fellowship, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, I 100% agree. All right, let's jump into the HeroClix news because there was a bunch that jumped out
Oof.
at us,
Yeah.
and it's been kind of crazy. So, first of all, let's talk about the solicits.
It's a lot of HeroClix coming out, man. It's a lot of HeroClix coming out.
It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day.
Sweet Jesus. Not for my wallet, it's not. Sweet Jesus. My wallet is crying, bro. Like
We got tons of time to save up. It's gonna be pricey though. I mean, there's some. Obviously, we'll have to see how they play, but the ones that we've been able to see are,
yeah, man,
beautiful.
Which one are you most excited for?
For me, after seeing some of the strange ones, the strange tales that came out, the Vampire Wolverine one, oddly not the chases are all phenomenal. I'm assuming those are chases. All of those look amazing, but the Vampire Wolverine, just the sculpt, or I guess the way that they went about it, so cool. Just looks like a ton of fun. I'm a big fan of action pieces.
Yeah.
So anything that's in the moment, right? You can kind of clip it and say, you kind of have an idea what's going on versus just a static pose. I love that.
That pose is Keo. That pose is right off of a cover by one of my favorite artists named Art Adams. That pose is directly right off of a cover. So I'm definitely this year at Comic-Con. The set is out already. I'm gonna definitely get the artist who drew that pose to sign that big old cape that he has, sign just the back of the figure instead of just a card. I'm just going to have him sign it because that Wolverine looks amazing. I hope the dial is even half as good as what that sculpt looks like.
Yeah, for sure. And then even if it isn't, there's just something about that sculpt and really even the chases, even if they end up not being something that is super usable, right, in the sense of Heroclix, you're gonna want to collect them all. You're gonna want.
It's beautiful.
Collect them all.
I'm very excited that WizKids has kind of turned the corner when it comes to naming their sets. So that's got me like the last few sets. We're about to get Smash and Destroy later this month, and then we're going into Lantern Legacy. I count X-Men 97 as another Disney base set. I think that's what it's going to be. It's like, since that was a Disney Plus show. So, but the set right after the X-Men 97 is Strange Tales, which again, Doctor Strange is on the front, and you see, of course, the chases are all those, Sorcerer Supremes. But knowing that you saw all those Nick Fury and those Shield guys in there, like it can be anything in these sets now. And when you see the Smash and Destroy stuff, you think Hulk. But these last 2 days of unboxing have just been all over the place. So I'm excited about that. It definitely harkens back to the older game where they would just name it whatever they're going to name it and throw in whatever they wanted to throw in. And people just, you never knew what you were going to get.
Yeah, absolutely. I do like their naming structure as of recently a lot more than like Captain America and the Avengers.
Classic.
I've always said like it should be like Pokemon. Like Pokemon's like Pokemon Red, Pokemon Silver, Pokemon this. Like it's generic. It's a generic name, but like, okay, it's gonna be a whole bunch of new Pokemon. And with HeroClix, that's what they literally used to do. Collateral Damage, Infinity Challenge, Armor Wars, all these different things. Fantastic Forces, Clobbering Time, just different things that you can name it that are related to the comics, but doesn't mean that's the whole set. And when you don't name it after something like, say, like War of the Realms or Secret Invasion, then what you do is you don't have the expectation of, well, where's this character? Where's that character?
Yeah.
That character was in it. This character was in it. Where's this or that character? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so for those who don't, yeah, so Strange Tales has been announced via solicits. There's a couple other things. There's release date kit. There is the brick, the play at home kit, which looks like it has Doctor Strange, and it looks like Baron Mordo maybe
Yeah,
on there.
yeah. That's Baron. That's definitely Baron Mordo for sure.
We also saw a DC starter set of 2026, which a cool little leaping Batman as like a little image.
Yeah.
And then someone please explain to me who Orgo the Unconquerable is.
Okay, that's. Go ahead. Does anybody go for it?
Oh no, I have no idea.
That's one of those. That's one of those old school D-list characters that was made in the '60s when Steve Ditko created, who is the creator of Doctor Strange, you know, artistically at least wise, and the first artist on Spider-Man, that they were creating these characters. And when you look at the names, you know, this the Unconquerable, or all those names that they used to have, you know, back in those days, it is just a very powerful mystical creature that showed up not too long ago in Marvel again. So I'm glad that they decided to go completely left field. It's the same as when like Magog showed up in the Mighty Thor set. Everyone's like, who the heck is Magog? But when you or Mangog, like when Mangog showed up, nobody knew who he was, but he was very powerful. So I'm expecting this guy to be exactly the same. It's just one of those things where like Doctor Strange had to fight him, because if he got into the main Marvel universe, he would just wreck all kinds of shop. So he should be hopefully very, very good. They've been doing a great job with these double base and big base figures power wise, and making them viable in the game. So I expect him to be exactly the same.
I'm hoping so. It looks kind of cool.
What was the name again?
Orgo.
Orko the Unconquerable.
He looks like a little Play-Doh boy.
Yeah, it's you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the old Looney Tunes character, that big red character.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the dude from Space Jam, the red guy, he looks like a bunch of hair.
Yeah, but just like with weird, I mean, they made a bunch. There's a bunch of characters that are pretty much like just a big tuft of fur almost in the Marvel universe. So yeah, he's one
What's
of
his
them.
name? Gossamer? Is that his name from Looney Tunes?
That sounds close. I think that there's a character named that. I couldn't tell you for sure if that's
He's got the shoes, right? He's got
Yeah,
the
he's
big
got-
white
yeah,
shoes.
yeah. Just like a red.
He's just a
yeah, just like a
tuft
big
of fur.
yeah.
So we got
Yeah.
Gossamer, the Unconquerable.
Look, somebody's gonna get two of them and like, you know, make it into that, which would be very fun. That'd be very fun.
And then after that, we noticed there was another solicit that says releases for Q3 2025. We got the Lantern Legacy stuff, play at home, but we also saw the Guardians of the Galaxy 400, and then the DC HeroClix Apocalypse Planet Pack.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting, because they said that comes with 2 legacy cards. So I'm calling it right now.
All right,
Since-
let's hear it.
I think the legacy is going to be for Highfather and Tachyon, who Highfather can turn into. When the Legion of Superheroes set was out, those two could switch, and you could switch Highfather into him. So it makes sense that they would do those two together, or they'll do Highfather and Orion. Maybe the last Orion and the last Highfather. Well, they only made Highfather once. So that's what I'm calling it right now. I'm calling that's probably what it might be, since we've already gotten Solaris, and I'm thinking about the DC big figures that they've made. They don't have too many that I would think that would fit for that Apocalypse thing. So I think it's going to be Highfather, because I don't think that we're going to see him or any of the other new gods like that being Orion. So that's what I'm calling it right now.
Do you think at all that it would be the what is it? The Apocalypse people that haven't came out yet, like Mantis and Kanto, I think. I hope not.
I thought I saw. Well, I thought I saw them pop up as prizing for one of the upcoming events I saw. Like I could have sworn I saw them like at Heroclix for Huntington. They showed I think they showed for some of the I think somebody showed us the thing for Heroclix for Huntington, the prizing, and the prizing had those figures on it. And I was like, okay. But I don't know. They've dropped the ball when it comes to that, unfortunately. Given any information about what where those figures are, So they'll come out eventually, though. They'll come out eventually, I think.
That makes yeah. I hope so. I think they will too, but I hope it's not like this because they've already kind of been like their LEs. So okay. Moving on real quick to the next thing. Let's talk about real quick the Porter unboxings. We're on day 2 of Smash and Destroy. What is everyone's thoughts on it so far?
So far, I think it's been interesting. I think a lot of people were expecting a ton of Hulk, right? I think Antonio kind of mentioned this a little bit ago. But you see Smash and Destroy, you think Hulk and Hulk-like figures. But I mean, really, you're getting a gambit of characters. It's almost, they took the Smash and Destroy idea, and then they've thrown in characters that I don't think you were totally expecting to show up.
1000%.
Yeah, like Tooth Gnasher,
Like,
not on the radar. I will say that.
just the level, like the Asgardians, you don't expect that when you hear the word Smash and Destroy, but it makes so much sense because even if you think about people that are Hulk adjacent, one of the heroes that has fought the Hulk the most besides the Thing, the next in line is Thor. Thor's fought the Hulk a whole bunch of times, so it links that Thor comes back, and without doing another Thor based kind of set, you get to sprinkle a lot of Asgardians in. That Destroyer armor that got shown today is ridiculous, I think.
Woo! Yeah.
Oh my God. Making somebody a giant, then giving them +2 to their defense and giving them invuln, like, okay, thanks. I didn't know I wanted to make a rare Spider-Man into a giant so he can just keep going and busting you up. Thanks. I appreciate that. So that, and then my favorite piece from these first 2 days has to be the Rhino. Oh my gosh. Who would have thought that in a Smash and Destroy set, after we just got a Spider-Verse set, that I would be talking about the Rhino? But here we are. The Rhino's amazing, giving everybody that uses charge +1 on their movement when we're seeing a plethora of 6 movement now, and these low movements so people can't get across the map real fast, and him giving every person with Sinister Syndicate charge, including himself. That's insane to me because you don't have to play him at the 75 point line if you don't want to. You can play him at 50 points, and him giving Sandman Chase a moving attack is crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. Him giving, I know most people probably keep it away, but since he has poison, him giving Mysterio the ability to port across the map potentially and then charge and mind control 3 people and next turn poisoning them. And then, I mean, it's just, that's so good. So I can't wait to have that piece. And the sculpt looks amazing. Let me ask y'all this. How do y'all feel about all these AB dials that you've seen? Because speaking of Tooth Gnasher, he was number 35. So that's a really early start, in my opinion, to super rares. How do y'all feel about all these AB dials that we're going to see? Because I think we're going to see a lot of that in Lantern Legacy as well.
I think it's early, right? But I think the difference between like this set and Trove, for example, that we saw like a lot, some ABs. I think Deadpool Weapon X had one, so they have been sprinkling in. But this one, you're seeing A, B, C. I think 35 is early, but at the same time, it's not super early just because you've got 3 or 4 different renditions of the first 15 characters, right? That's 45 characters maybe in itself. Not saying all of them have A, B, C, D, but for those that do, you're seeing a lot of figures. I just don't think you're seeing a lot of variety of figures, but you're seeing the same pieces with different powers. I'm okay. I don't hate it. I do like the shifting ability, being able to move from A to B to C without having to pay that cost is pretty cool. but I think it's a little bit niche. I think we have to see it in action, right? Just to see how achievable those things are going to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that 50-point Hulk, you can do something with that. You know, all he has to do is get the kill shot on something, and now you got a 40-point bounce, and then let him KO something, and then now you jumped up even more. So I can't wait, and we haven't seen the third version of the Hulk that's holding a rock. We've seen the sculpt where he's holding a rock, but we haven't seen the dial. And they jumped up from the 50 to the 70. He jumps up on how many points he can have. So we don't know what that next, let's just say 100-point Hulk might have. What point value he can jump up to. He might be able to even, jump up to be able to convert to what I'm hoping, which might be like Ultimate Hulk or something like not Ultimate Hulk because he's got to be named the Hulk. But I plan on jumping from 50 to the 70 and then jump into the starter Hulk, the 75-point Hulk that only takes 2 damage, a maximum of 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I plan on doing that ASAP when I use that Hulk. And it's going to be interesting to see, again, when I think about it, 35 at a super rare lets me think about how the set is structured, because with Trove, remember when we had like 7 or I think we had less than 10 rares, which seemed crazy to me. I was like, hold on, it's like 7 or 8 rares. So I wonder if it's going to have that same kind of structure, because that, just maybe even if you do like let's say 15 commons, and then you add maybe 10 uncommons, you're already at 25 right then and there. So then how many rares do you have? So I'm wondering what the structure is going to be like. I do like that they're giving us kind of different characters with the A's and B's and stuff, but I just want to see overall what the structure is going to be like, since we're since this is so close to Spider-Man. I think I wouldn't care as much if this was a few months down the line, but since Spider-Man still has that new car smell for me, it's just like, okay, well, that's a lot of new figs to pump out. Let's see how big this set is, So
Yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah, I like the shifting focus a little bit. I like how 70-point Hulk he gains a keyword.
Yeah.
It's kind of goofy. He
Yeah.
gains defenders. It's like, but yeah, I think we're gonna see this. I think that might be, maybe that's just for this set. Like the A B. I mean, I thought we saw. Did we see any more? Because we haven't seen a prime. Oh, that's right. I thought I saw it. Taskmaster has a C.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
so they might go pretty far in terms of like how.
Deep into it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, on the box they have Taskmaster holding a bow, so we know that's at least a B or an A. And that'll, like, the one that we saw was focusing on Captain America, so we know one of them's going to focus on Hawkeye, because that'll probably be the one with the bow. And then the one him holding a sword might be him focusing on Swordsman, because he was on the Avengers at the time. When Taskmaster first premiered, shout out to George Perez, rest in peace to him, the artist who created him and made Wonder Woman as popular as she is today, thanks to him. But yeah, so I'm hoping to see. I want to see a better Taskmaster dial. I'm gonna say that for sure. Like, I want a better Taskmaster dial. All those 10s, I was like, hold on.
You tell me 10 in cap isn't good enough for you?
Let me tell you, if I had a wish, I would change in-cap back to what it used to be when they had first changed it, where when you give someone a second action token, or if you in-cap somebody and you have it, they take a damage, man. Without pushing damage, it's one of those powers that just doesn't kind of tickle my fancy anymore. And unless it's free, the average person isn't going to necessarily take the risk of using an action to use it all the time, unless you have a special effect that goes along with the in cap,
Yeah, like Captain Universe and like Rare Spider-Man from Black Panther, they just naturally give out action tokens, and that feels way better than saying I'm going to roll an in cap.
Yeah, for no damage. You get no damage. And it's the feat card Stunning Blow. That's what used to do that. When you use in cap, you also dealt damage too. So I like that they've sprinkled, that into special powers, but I think Incap, I think Earthbound, Neutralize, and I think Force Blast all need a reworking. I think overall, if I was to say let's redo the pack, those three powers, especially Earthbound, I think Earthbound Neutralize should be something that you can give to somebody, kind of like an Outwit, but for the abilities. You know,
Oh.
Outwit is one of those things where you take away a power, but like I know, when you look at say someone like Hadari Yao, well, Hadari, I can't take away your powers, but I might be able to take away the fact that you can see through everybody, and if you can do that, or take away her flight, or take away her movement, ignoring characters from movement, that's huge, and we don't see Earthbound Neutralize pop up hardly at all. So why is it still in the pack? You know what I'm saying? Let's rework it and make it something that's actually viable. Why it's just a waste of space right now, you know?
You heard it here, Whiz Kids. Rework Earthbound Neutralize.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. You're the only person to ever say. No,
What's this guy's problem with Earthbound?
yeah, there's like a whole Heroclix team named after it, right? Earthbound and Down.
Yeah,
Or anyways.
yeah.
Anyways, yeah, I agree with that. There's a lot of powers I think need to get reworked. Although, yeah, I feel like I'm trying to think how to say this, but ranged flurry would be cool, but I don't think that'd be very healthy for the game.
Alec, I made a post about that. I'm like, we should have an equivalent for close attacks to that. But it then comes down to dial design. It's not as nasty if you can dial design it. Think about it. How many how many things in the game allow you to choose a speed power? Most let you choose an attack power. Most don't let you choose a speed power. So if they upgraded Flurry to let it work with range too, as well as close, now you would just see different dial design. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but I do see how it can get out of control because now I give Hadari Flurry and she just shoots the whole team for like 6 damage, and that's very, very nasty. But she's a corner case when the average range attacker is only doing maybe 3 damage, because most people don't even build around lots of enhancement. You know what I'm saying? In modern, that is. In modern, and silver is the different animal, but in modern, not so much. So interesting to see. We'll see.
Absolutely. Speaking of silver, let's touch on that just a tad.
Yeah.
Silver Age came up and was like, "Hey, we're gonna drop some big bombs about how we're changing it right before HeroClix for Huntington." So I don't know.
No, go ahead. Keep going. Keep going.
Keo, Manny, what are your number one? Are you hip to these changes? Do you think any of them are like good or anything like that? What are your thoughts on them?
I am not hip to the changes. I just got into modern and I have not even tried to look at silver. So,
Yeah, I have only been playing. So I've only been playing for close to a year now, and I have yet to play a full-fledged silver game. So I can't say, or really, like, my opinion really holds zero weight. I do understand after doing research, like, the frustration with the dark side SR from Masters of Time.
Oh yeah.
I understand like how that would be unhealthy for like game state. But I don't know. I look at it, and I think I was having this conversation with somebody earlier, and I think they mentioned, I think it's less about the pieces and more about those pieces being really good or heavily used in a modern setting, and trying to create a unique and more dynamic space for silver where some of the other figures are getting their time to shine. They don't want the same figures, ruling in both formats. Again, I think that makes a lot of sense, but also I'm new and have never played a silver game, so I really couldn't, give a good idea of whether it's a good change, bad change. I did see that I use a lot of those pieces that are not usable. I use a lot of those.
I mean, I think that's why it happened, because I mean, just Chair Panther kills a mechanic that they just brought into the game, which is one shots. The average player is going to have probably 2 one-shots, mainly Fortify and Rivalry. So being able to nerf these things, just by being on the map, regardless of whether you go first or second, is huge. Colossus was just very, very powerful. So I understand why he got it. A 20 defense is still a 20 defense, and Lord knows people can crack that and have cracked that. But I think when you start seeing figures that are super quote unquote oppressive or just use a whole bunch, people are gonna start frowning when they see other people having it. Just like Prime Spidey. Prime Spidey, you can't play him. And Prime Spidey's the best Spider-Man they've ever made. I don't think they can make another one that's better. But the other stuff like Predegaton and the Dark Side, a Dark Side team is just super oppressive if you can't, if you're not ready for it. And I think the reason why they banned him is because they're probably going to start banning. I think this year they might ban or they might retire Death Metal Wonder Woman, and Death Metal Wonder Woman would now be silver. She would now be retired. So he would be that 300, and then you can keep her as 50 points of your silver plus whatever else you want. And then now you would have to essentially KO him 3 times to get him off the map. And that could be an issue. You know what I'm saying? So that's just crazy. So I see why they did some of those. I can't wait. I think Beetlejuice was the biggest thing that was bugging me, was Beetlejuice. Just because in silver there's so many free things that people do, and him just wiping out that ability to do free actions was huge. So I can't wait to see the teams that are now going to be built, knowing that there's nothing there is no Beetlejuice that you have to worry about. I think we're going to see the reemergence of the Ivies. Even though you can only, everything is silver. That's another thing that happened in silver that I wish that they would implement into modern, which is everything is unique, but I get why they don't. But that's going to be very interesting. I think you're going to see the reemergence of Ivy. She's going to, being able to attack across the map is ridiculously good. So that should be fun. That should be very fun to see how that all, comes about.
Dark Side was really, the unavoidable damage I feel like is kind of the big thing for me for Dark Side, with Khazar and Proteus, and then just generating blocking, and then just with the one of the rings generates blocking for free, then I just shoot it and deal 4 unavoidable to you.
Yeah, that's just.
Yep. Anytime a character, I'll say this. I said this on a podcast that didn't get posted a while ago. Any character that you deal more than damage, unavoidable damage, number 1 is a big fat no for me. But especially dealing unavoidable damage that is you have you don't have to roll an attack roll for. That just is terrible in my opinion. That's a terrible thing. That should never be in question for a design. Or you have to make it incredibly limited. Captain Universe doing Blades, Claws, Fangs, Giant Reach, unavoidable damage. I'm not he gets on his back dials, and by the time he has it, he's getting close to being dead. And you still have to roll dice, and his attack value is not amazing. 11's good. 11's standard attack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also you can Ares bomb with it. I get there's a bunch of interactions and stuff like that, but it's not just hey, I'm shooting this piece of blocking terrain, deal unavoidable damage to you. Oh, that killed you? Okay, deal. It kills everybody else but the name too. So oof. I get Dark Side. I totally get Dark Side. I get some of these. Chthon, I don't think he was on the list prior to this. So Chthon getting the bench, the banhammer is kind of wild. Kong getting the banhammer makes no sense to me. Especially being one of the few answers to Carnage Silver Surfer. And then they're just oh yeah, Carnage Silver Surfer's back on the menu. That just doesn't make sense to me. I understand 200-point Kong, but also don't understand 200-point. I don't know.
200-point Kong is nasty. With the two, I think the issue isn't just 200-point Kong. I think the issue is 200-point Kong plus Gaia, plus Herb, plus just Scott Porter for free healing. Essentially he can just, even if you play the Bloodstone, you can still just potentially use Scott Porter, just carry him, carry Scott Porter around and then potentially just heal like crazy, just keep getting healed up potentially. It's nasty. It's a nasty thing. I was very surprised to see Kong's name on there. I was like, okay, all right. I think next year we're going to see Trigon, because I think we're going to see a rise in Trigon now.
Yeah, Soul Sword Trigon.
I think Soul Sword. It's not Trigon that needs to go. I think it's Soul Sword needs to probably go. Soul Sword needs to go. With the number of there's a plethora of mystical characters that have stop clicks. So telling this mystical character, oh, I have Soul Sword, so I don't even care if you hit me. I have Arachnite. All right, well, you hit me, and then all right, you hit me to my stop. Thanks, and I'm going to heal back. Sweet, fantastic. Like, that's huge. That's very huge.
Yeah, I suppose so. The Bloodstone would just get rid of it, though.
Yes.
If I feel like the Bloodstones, I don't want to say like an insta play, but I feel like it's very. I would have very heavily suggest it.
Oh yeah.
I did notice also that Hadari Yao, both the Proteuses and the newest Spot made it to the watch list, which was not on there previously. So they got an eye out for that stuff.
I mean, Hadari, that's my baby. I'm so glad that a Storm is worth banning. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had so many bad Storms in Heroclix. So to get a Storm that's so powerful that she's worth banning is just music to my ears. So,
yep, bad Storms. They got like Hurricane Katrina. That was a pretty bad storm.
It definitely was.
All right, so Heroclix art, the sculpts, the 3D renders, everything. They have been making some pretty good dials recently, and old ones too. Don't get me wrong; they're not as great, but there are some good ones out there. And so I think it'd be fun to just go through some of our favorite sculpts that we've seen over the years, and also our opinions on what makes a great sculpt. So, Manny, do you want to kick us off with that? What for you, when you see a Heroclix sculpt, makes you go, "Dang, that's a good sculpt"?
One that comes to mind will always be Avengers Prime.
Nice.
Okay.
Chaos War Chase. I think it always looks good, even for being an older figure, and I think everyone always thinks it looks cool.
What specifically about it is the thing that you're just like, that's what drew me to the sculpt?
Well, the colored base, duh.
Yep, I agree. Bring back colored bases.
Base. Just having the three bigs all like right there, and not just like just standing there. They're all doing something to make it pop. Is what I think makes it look good.
Yeah, absolutely. Keo, what's a specific thing in general like that makes a sculpt look really, really good to you? Like, what draws you to a good sculpt?
So for me, a good sculpt, I don't come from comics. I never read them. I have made it a purpose to try and read more of them. So I like the Wolverine that I mentioned earlier that Antonio was kind of talking about, how it's directly from cover art that was made, and I think that's really cool. But for me, I look at sculpts based on the same way anyone does, like looking at a car. I'm like, hey, that looks awesome. I don't know what the source material is. I don't even know some of their names. I just think it looks extremely cool. I'm a big fan of action poses. I think static is okay, especially if the figure kind of calls for that. Like, in terms of characters, I do know the characters. But like, if you got a big baddie, like, Thanos, for example, who's just kind of standing there, arms behind his back, bossing it, then I get it. And I think that's an okay pose. But I don't want to see a Spider-Man just like standing there with his hands in front of him. I don't know. I want to see him doing something. Legs kicked up in the air, swinging, something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Antonio, what makes a good sculpt for you?
It's I think it's gonna sound funny, but length length makes a good sculpt. When we think of all of our favorite sculpts, they're long in some kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Um, they extend in some kind of way, whether the arm or leg or projectile or something like that. I'm sitting here looking at the Spider Trio figure that just came out in Spider Verse, and when you look at just the Spider Man on his own, just Peter, if they took that Peter and just put that on a dial, that would be one of the greatest Spider Man sculpts we've ever gotten in the game. Not only do you have the web protruding out, but like the body movement. At this point in the game, I want dynamic stuff. One of my other favorite figures, like right now, is the Doctor Doom chase from Collector's Trove. Just like you can feel the energy coming up with his cape just waving a little bit, just a little bit. It's not even crazy. And I love that. So like these long sculpts that have something dynamic with it, whether it be an arm or a leg or a projectile or a cape or something like that, that stuff makes me be like, yeah, that's nice. And the second thing is definitely, this is right off me being a comic book guy, when I can correlate a sculpt with a comic panel or page, and I can know even the slightest ones whenever a set is released, I was like, oh, okay, they got that from that issue, they got it from that issue. So I love that kind of stuff. It makes it kind of like a little Easter egg hunt with me, is where I'm like, I've seen this sculpt before, I've seen this pose before, where did I get it? So say like I mentioned George Perez, who created Taskmaster and helped revamp Wonder Woman. The title Wonder Woman from the Wonder Woman 80 set, where she's standing up and her hands are up and everything like that, and she's standing on the Wonder Woman symbol, that's straight off of a cover. You know, when George Perez revamped Wonder Woman, that's right off of the cover. So I love stuff like that. Like those types of things, I have to have those figures, regardless of what the dial is. I have to have those figures. So yeah, that's what I love about a good sculpt.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. The longness does really help, doesn't it? I
It does.
really do like those.
It does,
Um,
man.
for me, dynamic posing's a big one, but I like just like you like kind of like Keo said, like the action posing is really really eye turner for me. Um, I have a expectation for super rare should always have good sculpts. So
Oh yeah.
when Disney Plus, the first set, and Manny knows exactly where I'm going with this. When Disney Plus, the first set, had a super rare Winter Soldier, and he's just standing there,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just like automatic. Like I don't care about the super rare. The super rare could be the best super rare in the entire world. I will
It's
never
boring.
care.
You
Yeah,
got sculpt swap, man. That's what sculpt swap is for. You got to sculpt
yeah.
swap that thing. So I learned something last year, as a matter of fact. For anyone that might be listening, I learned something last year that's very important to the game. I learned something called plastic economy. If you live in the world, you know what plastic is and stuff like that. And it is a costly material. So Heroclix thinks of sculpts in plastic economy, which is why you see lots of sculpt reuse and, the same pose, but like a different head or a different arm or something like that. So that's why we have a lot of those static poses, and they save those poses that are really dynamic that we like to see for the higher rarity, the ones that aren't going to be produced as much. And once I learned that, I've accepted why some of these poses are like, all right, this is boring as all get out. This guy's waiting for the bus. I don't like it. But like you just said, Alec, they really have been knocking. I feel like every SR up should have a dynamic pose. The issue is, what if you make someone who's not a dynamic character? You know what I'm saying? Like, if they're not dynamic, you know.
Okay, yeah, but like I know the wall is not going to be dynamic,
Yeah,
but
the
he's
wall.
still
But
cool.
that sculpt is good, man. That sculpt is great.
His little face poking through the bricks.
But say like Lady Stilt Man, she isn't doing anything dynamic. It's a cheesy sculpt. I love it. But the greatness of her sculpt is not in how dynamic she is. She gets dynamic. Why? Because you can make her long. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what makes her dynamic, not just like her actual pose is doing anything crazy. It's weird, but it works.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I totally get what you're saying. The other thing that I'm a sucker for cape. If they got a big flowing cape, I
Oh
am
yeah.
all over that.
Oh
like
yeah.
stink on a warthog. I will get that figure. I really don't care. And that's where a lot of my sculpts will be influenced by.
They're hard to store if you put them in the bins. They're hard to store sometimes. Them
That's
capes,
true.
man. Those capes are like those capes are hard to store, and it's just like, okay, well, I guess I gotta find a place for you on my display because if I put you in this box, you're gonna break. So
Yep.
Yeah, those
I
at
feel
Masters of Time Batman. Oh my goodness.
oh yeah,
With the wings spread out. Like, come on, brother. That doesn't fit in anything.
It does not fit in anything. And then they made two of them too. It's like, oh yeah,
Yep.
did you like one? No. We made two.
Yeah, it's crazy. Real quick, so my favorite sculpt of all time goes beyond the sculpt too. So there was an Amazing Spider-Man chase that I don't unfortunately own, where the dial, was red with the black web. I think that's a super cool touch. But it has, the Doc Ock.
Oh yeah.
The hand, the lightning bolts behind him, the smoke on the other side. I mean, dude, that is such a unique piece. It is so good, and that's the type of thing that, like, I don't care if it's terrible. That's something that, like, I would want. I would need.
I'm staring at that piece right now.
You can.
Oh yeah. It's not that I couldn't get it, but man, it's I wasn't playing at the time, so I go back and look at a lot of these with a lot of envy. I wasn't playing during the time of Arachnite.
Yeah.
That sculpt is so cool, so cool,
baby.
and the piece is pretty good, I hear.
The probably one of the best, pound for pound, one of the best pieces they've ever made in the game. Like at full points, pound for pound, easily one of the best pieces they've ever made in the game. 1,000%.
Yep.
I almost bought one for $80, and that was around the time the set came out, and I didn't take it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I know.
That
was from Tyler offered me it. Alec.
Yeah.
When I was up there playing with you guys, he offered me one for $80, and I should have taken it.
Oh my
man.
gosh.
That was a deal. That was a deal. That was a deal. Then it's like the SpongeBob. It's like a few hours later, and now it's $150.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that figure is so good. I mean, like good. I could probably do a thesis on Arachnite. He is just he's a greatly designed figure, greatly designed sculpt. Yeah. He's very offensive with having just a tad of defense to be like dangerous. That's without like any this is just like vanilla Arachnite.
Yeah, just him. Yep, just him.
Like he's got the spiders. I mean, like I know that Spider-Man team ability at the time was just wild card, but when they changed it, it just made him so much better. Precision strike.
The ability to choose what you want with him too. Oh my gosh, the versatility. Jeez. Oof.
Yeah. I mean, it's hypersonic to flurry, and then you pursue, or like you don't have to do it like that, but like you can hypersonic in, attack, wait a turn, and usually he has enough defense to kind of get him by, especially if he has like the soul sword or something like that. But yeah. So, anyways, let's actually start talking about our favorite figures real quick, or not real quick. We'll just take our time. I will start out with so we talked about Arachnite. He's on my list because Arachnite is probably my favorite piece of all time, besides Ragdoll. And
that's sick.
Yeah. And then so let's talk about another figure. Manny and I talked about this a little bit with Daniel Powell, but one of my favorite figures, and it's not because the figure itself is like amazing looking, but more of the fact that it had a variant to it. It's the 034 Venom from Deadpool. The Flash Thompson Venom, where he's like swinging and he's got a gun.
Oh yeah.
One of them has his tongue out.
Yeah, so there's two variants. There's one with his regular mask, and then there's one with his Venom face. Yeah, with his tongue out.
Yeah.
And
it's three variants, as a matter of fact, because the Fast Forces has the red instead of the black and white. So there's three variants to that figure, as a matter of fact.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the Fast Forces are like their own little thing. That is
Yeah,
correct. Yeah.
the new 400 format is what Fast Forces essentially were. You take pieces that were already in the set, you give them a new dial, give them some probably shared trait and everything like that, and you package it all together, and there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, part of the best part about that sculpt, like I love the web, the little swooshy thing, like
Yeah,
the action swoosh. I don't know what you technically call that, um, but the like just the fact that you could have a variant of the mask and the tongue just added for more collectability, and it was harder to find. And back then, in my opinion, back then it was really hard to find like whether or not these figures did those kind of things. You just kind of had to know somebody with one, and you're like, "Holy smokes, how did you do that?" And then they're like, "What do you mean?" And like they have to explain, like, "No, this is how I pulled it. Yours didn't get pulled that way." I'm like, "No." So, anyways, so that figure has a very special place in my heart in terms of some of my favorite sculpts. Um, let's go with Manny said Avengers Prime, so let's go. Let's go with Keo. Keo, what do you got for us? Which one of your favorite sculpts?
I would say, like I said, I haven't played a very long time. I was lucky enough to pull Khonshu, and
nice.
that I think that sculpt is extremely cool, and especially after kind of like learning a little bit more about the character itself. I think that sculpt is one of my favorites. But as touched on earlier, Hadari Yao,
Yeah.
she just gets. Storm has not had a lot of respect, and finally, I mean that one is a home run, in my opinion. She looks like somebody you don't want to mess with, and you know, figuratively and literally on her dial, she's not someone that you want to play with
At all. At all. Oof, she's so good. She's so good. One of my favorite sculpts is convention exclusive Superman and Wonder Woman, actually.
Oh yes, that's a good one.
That's right off of a cover. And it is just an amazing figure. Realistically, it's in need of a legacy, which I'm sure they'll never do because it's super powerful. It has like 6 damage on his first click. But
Yep, it
all
does.
it does, and it should. It's Superman and Wonder Woman. They should be super powerful. I really like, anything. It's just so, like, almost every duo figure they've ever made has been great for me. But this recent Spider Trio also was just super amazing to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I had to have it. I didn't even care what it did. It was like, all right, just give it to me, please. Now I just need the Spider-Man, Miles and Gwen. But yeah, Superman and Wonder Woman, that figure is on display. There is something called the Batcave that was a prize back in the day. When WizKids used to have those big events, and they used to always give a big base something at the end of it. It wasn't just a figure; it was a big base figure, usually like the size of Galactus or something like that. And the first time they did one for DC, or the second time they did it for DC, they did the Batcave, and they have like a little stand. It's Alfred standing there with like a little plate, and you're supposed to essentially have like a Batman sitting inside of that little stand for him, right? But I would always put Superman and Wonder Woman are just going to make out in the Batcave and make Bruce upset. And, I would always say Alfred when people would come to my house and be like, why is Superman and Batman making out in the Batcave? And I was like, listen, because Batman likes to watch. Okay. That's why. All right. All right. And we would always have a good laugh about it. But yeah, that's one of my favorite pieces of all time.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. I kind of forgot about that one. So
yeah, man. Yeah.
All right, Manny.
Another one?
Yeah, let's do another one.
All right. Well, as everyone knows, I am a Gambit guy. So another one of my favorite sculpts is the House of X Gambit.
It's a good
Where
figure.
he is jumping and throwing the cards.
Heck yeah.
You got to get you, Manny, the Mutations and Monsters Gambit.
Where he's jumping off the Sentinel.
The Sentinel. Yeah, you got that one?
I sure do.
Good stuff.
Also a good sculpt.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff.
He's on my Gambit display. My Gambit shrine, as my girlfriend calls it.
Nice.
But but then, so Gambit's a perfect example of the Deadpool Weapon X of what a terrible super rare sculpt looks like. It's just like, Oh, that's a
geez.
Oh
super
yeah,
rare?
agreed. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it's right off of the cover. Like that's one of those ones where they snatch it off of the cover, right? Where they're all just kind of standing there. You know what I'm saying? But it's like,
Okay.
come on. So that's one of those ones where like when a perfect example is, you have so say like the what's that the in Spider-Verse. You have the Spider-Man that's kind of doing like this little shrug pose, and it's like, why is he doing this pose? You know what I'm saying? They just took it from a panel, and that's exactly what happened with that Gambit. They just snatched it from a cover, and it just so happens to be a cover where Gambit is doing nothing but just standing there, and the dial is
Oh,
good. The dial is good, but the sculpt is horrible.
yep. I agree.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, I agree. That was pretty rough.
yeah. But that House of X one is great. It's
Yes.
great.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Speaking of House of X, yeah, speaking of House of X, there's a lot of great Nightcrawlers, but that one to me is my favorite
Oh,
Nightcrawler sculpt.
yeah,
I
yeah.
I think House of X really did well with their super rare sculpts.
They did. Let's take
They
a
also had the Juggernaut.
Well,
Yup.
they had to though. They advertised that was one of their main selling points at that time when they were shifting into the bigger sculpts. They said, "Hey, the sculpts are going to be more dynamic." So I think they had to make those that set had to set a standard it because it was literally an advertisement for the price increase that they were doing. They was like, we're price increasing, so what we're gonna do is we're also gonna give you really, really good sculpts. Look at these, and that set is literally still has some of the nicest sculpts that you can come around. So I love it.
I would have been upset though if I would have pulled the North super rare.
Yeah,
just
agree.
saying.
Oh,
But some of the other
cool.
ones like Juggernaut and Maggot.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah, dude, I forgot
Um,
Maggots in this set. Oh my gosh, what a set!
I mean, that Juggernaut is one of the to me. He's on. Usually, I have to make myself not build like a 400 point when I play silver with him because for 175 points or actually 185 points, you give him the Doc Ock arms, and then you just essentially, especially on these small maps, you don't even really need TK. The Doc Ock arms gives him +2, or he gives him Giant Reach 2. He can just move 13 squares across the map and then just flurry somebody for 5 damage apiece. No stop clicks, no perplex, no leadership. He reduces pen damage. When Chthon was on him, he could get 14 squares, so he could get all the way across the map by himself. You just line him up and just send him. And that was 6 damage 13-6 coming at your face. I love that piece. And then he gets stop clicks at the end. Like, oh, what a monstrous piece. Keywords were great. House of X was a great set. Very great set.
Yeah, that's about right. That was like literally right when I stopped playing for a little bit because I was just in an area that didn't really play, and
Yeah.
Roll20 wasn't really like a thing that I knew existed. So this was a right around the time where I kind of stopped playing, but I did pick up a few of these. Like I do have the Juggernaut, I have the Jubilee. The Jubilee's awesome. I love that figure.
She is. She is. She's very awesome.
And then I had Apocalypse Prime as well as Old Man Phoenix as well.
Talk about a beautiful like all the Phoenix based sculpts are just amazing in the game. Realistically, like WizKids really they hang their hats on making these beautiful fire sculpts, like energy or fire crackling and stuff like that. When
Yeah.
I'm looking at my Phoenix display right now, and even when you look at like the recent Phoenix Black Panther, he looks amazing with the bird just around him.
Mhm.
And I mean, even when you look at the what's that called? The X-Men animated series, the Phoenixes from that, like the Blue Phoenix, with Rachel. And I mean, geez, they've made so many great Phoenix figures. So when that old man Logan came out, or that old man Phoenix came out, you couldn't tell me nothing about that piece. I played that thing so much, sweet Jesus. But yeah, fun times.
Absolutely. Yeah. Keo, you got another sculpt that you would like to share with the class?
I not off the top of my head. I wasn't prepared for follow-up questions.
I said favorite sculpts.
Oh,
I wasn't
Yeah,
singing
I've
them.
given I did 3 already.
Nice.
I mean, you know what I would love here instead of favorite sculpt. What I'll say is that what I would love is to get a great Reed Richards sculpt. I haven't found one that I love or that I think portrays the character like extremely well. It's usually just him elasticized is like the coolest it ever gets. But I mean, I think there's enough lore there to where you could probably make something really, really unique, really, really cool and make it like something super appealing. And obviously usable would be a huge bonus. But you look at guys, you guys have mentioned a ton of pieces already. Just like from the Spider-Verse set, the most recent stuff we see, a lot of the Syndicate have super, super, super cool sculpts. I mean, next level stuff. And I don't know, there's been a lot of Reed Richards, been a lot of Mr. Fantastic, and I don't have like a memorable piece, at least nothing that comes to my mind in the most recent. Yeah, I don't remember or know anything of like way back in the day, a decade ago or more even. But I just looking at Future Foundation and Fantastic Four, like sets that you can still kind of purchase at some retailer, some game shops and stuff like that, and get your hands on. The Mr. Fantastics in those sets they're okay, but you look at Thing, he's got a ton of different stuff going on. Human Torch, I forget what set it is, but that Human Torch and like he's got like the podium, but it almost looks like
You're talking about
the War of the Realms one. I mean, dude,
Goblet of Fire, yeah.
Yeah, it's a goblet. Yeah, it's sort of. I mean, you have all these other guys. Invisible Woman as at least things where she's invisible, or at least illusionary, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's room for him to get something cool, especially given how like important or big the character is in terms of storytelling and like the Marvel universe as a whole.
I think there's only two Reed Richards sculpts that really kind of come to mind when you talk about it. The first one is the Fantastic Forces sculpt. They used to come in 2 pieces that you connected together, and it was in the Ultimate Reed Richards. And I still think that's my favorite Reed Richards, to the point that I took the rare Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four set, like all the rares. I had extra versions of the rares, and I took all of those sculpts off and put the old Fantastic Forces sculpts on top of those, so they have that ultimate look to them. But that Reed Richards and even that Johnny Storm, and then also they did like a summer thing where it's Reed Richards in a white, like I think it was Cosmic Clash. They took that sculpt from the Cosmic Clash set. I don't know if you've seen that one, but he's kind of stretchy. He's kind of bent down, stretchy, and his hands kind of big. I do agree with you. Reed could definitely get some more love with the like making his sculpt more dynamic and making it seem like the character. I think I think they're just scared to, because it's going to be long. You know what I'm saying? So it goes back to what I was just talking about not too long ago about the plastic economy and, them just not wanting to do it. But I hope they do something soon, because that would be very cool, especially with the movie coming out soon. I hope we get a new Fantastic Four and they all are actually fantastic. That would be great.
No, I agree. I think that.
Yeah, definitely. I agree too.
What, Antonio? What other what sculpt do you have?
Oh man, I'm in my basement. I'm just surrounded by so many beautiful Heroclix sculpts. I would say some Heroclix sculpts that really there's 2 things realistically. One would be the totality of the Street Fighter set that came out back in the day.
Oh yeah, classics.
Just like the totality, like every sculpt was beautiful, because they were doing their special moves and stuff like that. And also the super rare Ninja Turtles that came out in the last Ninja Turtle set, where they all look more beefy, but mainly it was the Michelangelo that he's my favorite turtle, and he's swinging his nunchucks and he's kind of kicking up. I was like, yeah, this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in Heroclix. So to see, my favorite video game, which is Street Fighter and Ninja Turtles, something that, I had as a child, to see those things in Heroclix form was like a dream come true for me. So those are some of the best sculpts that I've ever, like, those sculpts stay on display. The Ken is my guy in Street Fighter. He's my favorite one. So him doing the dragon punch with the flames all around him and stuff like that, that's beautiful, man. Like, that's an Akuma with the raging, him doing the Soryuken, and it's like three of him, like they show him kind of going up. That's amazing. So I love that, the totality of that Street Fighter. You talk about a property that I would give my left toe to have back in Heroclix right now and have a redo. It would be because Street Fighter would be amazing if they redid it now. But back in the day, they just didn't know they didn't want to go too hard with it. But those sculpts, well, if you're a lover of Street Fighter, go pick up those sculpts if you can on the secondary market. They are worth having. They have them doing Hadouken, Hurricane Kick. All, again, if you love Street Fighter, those are some very, very cool stuff. But yeah, man, those things. I wish everybody had, another thing, I wish everyone had a good version of their favorite character. Listening to the guys talk about, like, Gambit and all these other things, and I'm thinking, like, what if your favorite character doesn't have a monster sculpt? Like, what if your favorite character is, I don't know, like, maybe like Stargirl or something like that, or one of these characters? What if it is Adana Troy and not Wonder Woman? What if it's But hey, man, listen, that Ragdoll, that's one of the cool. I mean, it's brittle as all heck, but that's a very cool sculpt where he's all contorted and everything like that. That's a great sculpt. But yeah, I wish everyone had a good version of their, like, a good sculpt and dial of their favorite character. I think everybody deserves a good version, which is why I'm glad that we get to see these C and D list characters still pop up, because everyone's getting to see these characters they might have loved reading or seeing on a show or something like that or whatever, and we get to see them. So I hope everyone eventually gets to have that. I haven't seen my favorite, like, I think everyone except for Nova in the game has gotten, all of my favorite characters have gotten at least one really good dial and really, really good sculpt too, which I'm happy about,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's round it out real quick with Manny. Manny has, I think, do you have one more, Manny? Sorry.
Sure. One that comes to mind that I think is a really good sculpt is the 10th anniversary Magneto.
Yeah.
Where he's in the
That-
bubble and you can, like, take it off.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that's
Marvel
such a
vs.
good
Capcom.
sculpt.
Hell yeah.
Which one's, I'm trying to look for it.
It's
Like,
Marvel
scroll.
10, so it'll be under Marvel 10. So you
Marvel
got to
10.
scroll down. If you're on HD units, you got to scroll down. It'd be better just to type in Magneto and scroll, but you're still gonna have to scroll down for it. He's reaching out and he's got rubble around his feet, and you can take the bubble off of him.
Oh, yes. Okay, I see it. It's the yes. Okay, I totally
Yeah,
get what you're
man.
saying now. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's
The
really sweet.
yeah, I agree. I think the Magneto. I love the new super rare Magneto.
Oh,
That
yeah.
one, personally, is probably one of my favorites. I mean, and there's the 2x2 as well, where he's like in the middle. That's a classic one too for 25. Back when the colossal retals were a thing.
Yeah. Good old colossal retaliation, man.
Although I do like the X-Men, Uncanny X-Men Magneto. That the little balls of iron come off, little scrap irons.
Yeah.
The chase one, yeah.
The chase. Oh yeah, that's actually one of the. That's probably other than the recent Oh no, I'm sorry. GSX. GSX is the best Magneto sculpt they've ever made, where all the stuff is hovering around him. I forgot about that. Like, GSX is still the best Magneto sculpt that they've made, in my opinion. That's forever going to be an iconic sculpt in the game. So
I agree.
But-
That and Weapon X and Colossus from the Uncanny X-Men as well. Like, they do the whole little fastball special
Oh, where
together.
you can put them together, and throw them.
Yeah, those duo figures, man. Like, I mean, again, duo figures are just so good. I mean, they made that duo figure with the Batman and Catwoman, where Catwoman is just laying on the bat signal and it's all huge. That's crazy good. It's just so good. and the piece actually was really good back in the day, you know? So I love stuff like that. I love stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I agree. All right. Well, thank you so much, Antonio, for jumping on the podcast with us.
Of course.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Always love talking about art. Always love talking about Heroclix and
Oh,
comic
yeah,
books
man.
as well.
I love it.
Again,
I appreciate you having me on and appreciate you guys chatting with me, man. It's always a good time to
Absolutely.
get to
Been a
talk some
blast.
clicks. Yeah,
Absolutely. It's
indeed.
all love.
absolutely. Well, thank you so much again for listening as well, and we will see you next time when we talk about all things Heroclix.